another episode of the Performance Cafe. So good to have you back with us again today. And you know what? If it's your first time here, welcome. It's lovely to see you too. So I'm still on my book, Rehumanising Leadership. I'm loving it. No way we're going to get through the whole book before we get to the end of the month. But I just have so much to show you from the book or tell you about the book. So last week we spoke about the control trap, the cognitive trap, and the power trap. And these are traps that we fall into as leadership, and that really we sort of find that it's fairly old school, right? It still comes from a couple of sort of premises from old school business, not from how we work today with knowledge workers. So if we're not supposed to do that, what does the book say we have to do? So in the section, The Right Thing to Do, it talks about the following. So basically, the next section can almost be defined as merchants of meaning. And what we mean by that is that the right thing to do is to replace those three traps and unlock the door of meaning. So things like, for example, businesses have been doing it right all along, actually, ironically. Well, they start off well and then they unfortunately falter. But if we think about it, so businesses have been doing it right all the time, right? They start with a vision, a mission, and a strategy. Unfortunately, they never actually listen to it or use those things further. I always speak of it as the kind of stuff that we find on the wall in the boardroom or in the CEO's office, but no one else gets to see it or live it as such. So how does this relate to rehumanizing leadership? Well, so many of us, and we've all probably been through the teenage stages, some of us just don't remember them that well anymore, we would ask ourselves, why am I here? What is my purpose? And once there's a sense of purpose, once there's a sense of this is what I must do, or this was why I was placed on earth, well, then we have the vision. And once we have this vision, we can say, what aligns with that vision? What goals align with that? And that sort of takes care of the rest, right? It takes care of who I am, what I wear, where I work, where I want to live, how I want to be. So, for example, a teenager who wants to become a professional ice skater might actually spend quite a lot of their time in, what do they call it? Athleisure, which is just a fancy name for athletic gear. And the reason for that is because they're probably practicing 2-3 times a day. They're probably running in between practice, shower, school, practice, shower again. So there's no reason for them to run around in high heels and silk scarves, right? And so you see how the vision dictates everything else. Now, here we have with business the same situation. If we understand why are we here? What are we doing? What is the focus here? From there, we can set up those goals and strategies. And those strategies are going to help us to decide what are those important things we'll pay attention to and what are the things that we won't. How will we dress? How will we be? And that defines culture eventually, right? So that actually, and pardon the use, but it's actually being mindful about your vision and your strategy. You know, lots of people think of mindful as this, new age woohoo word. But actually, what happens is once I know what's top of mind, I can be mindful about it. And haven't we all spoken about being mindful? Now, what happens is because we have that purpose, it helps mitigate the flight, fright, or freeze response. Because what happens is when something's happening and I don't know what to do, I respond with flight, fright, or freeze. Excepting if I respond with flight, fright, or freeze, but I then realize, oh, hold on, this is the vision, this is the goal, this is the team, this is how it works, then I can push forward quite quickly, right? So you can see how even the best of strategies are meaningless if they have no purpose. So the other thing about this is it makes leaders with this mindset incredibly adaptable because they can be proactive, because they understand what they need to do. They can plan ahead. When things go wrong, they are not upset by the fact that there's new information. They utilize that feedback, and they are therefore less resistant to disruption and change. The other thing that this helps is, of course, now we have a leader who's able to deal with ambiguity and uncertainty. And if we've seen anything in the past 2 years, is how those leaders actually have brought us through things like COVID. This is because there is no tunnel vision. There's no acceptance of there's only one way to do things. There's no acceptance of there's only one path to do things. There's only one vision. And as long as we keep flying to that vision, or moving in the general direction of that vision, we'll be fine. A friend of mine studied to be an airline pilot. And he actually said to me, do you realize that even if you fly from Cape to Cairo, they always draw such a beautiful straight stripe? And he says, but actually that path that you fly is not that great. Or that straight, what you're doing. Sorry, John, if you could just redo this section for me. A friend of mine who studied to fly an aeroplane, we were one day speaking and he said, do you realize that even if you fly from Cape to Cairo, even though on all graphics they show this beautiful straight line, it's not really straight. What happens is you fly from market to market, until you get to Cairo. And what I really loved about this was that that was such a perfect example of this. There is no one way to get there. Yes, you're probably going to use the best and the shortest route at all time, but you will fly market to market. And so sometimes you have to make small adjustments along the way, but you're still going to get there. And the last thing, and this is what I really enjoy, because this is not just about giving purpose to team members and employees, but it also gives purpose to leaders, is that good leaders take a stand. It allows them to make the right decisions because they always keep their eye on the prize, and the prize is that vision. So this purpose, or this process, gives purpose to business, management, and employees. And I want to read to you a quote that I found in the book by Viktor Frankl, the Austrian physiologist and Holocaust survivor. You'll probably know him as the author of Man's Search for Meaning and one or two other titles. He said, even more people today have the means to live, but no meaning to live for. And I think that is the sadness of it all, that we see that we are now more in control of things like plagues and wars and all those things. We live better and longer lives, but it's fairly useless if those lives have no meaning. So on that very deep note, I bid you a fond farewell. And if you enjoyed this if you enjoyed this episode, please, I think the button's on this side. I always get it wrong. The button is on this side. If you're on YouTube, please subscribe. Click on the notification bell so you can see our releases more often than not, at least twice a week. And then if you are following us from LinkedIn and from Facebook, thank you for being with us. I hope that you are enjoying these episodes. And please comment, share, let people know that this content is out there. Maybe we can help someone. And then head over to YouTube and go and subscribe there. And then until the next episode, I look forward to seeing you at the Performance Cafe.